Fear is trying to show you something. When we have fear, it's not always a bad thing. I feel like you could use fear to correct your situation. I'm going to tell you exactly how you go about this. So look, whether you like it or not, fear, right? When you have fear is a level of respect you are giving to something. I like to give the example of being afraid of the dark, right? A child who is afraid of the dark, they don't go near the dark because they have a level of respect for the darkness that they don't even approach it. And when you look at our lives, what is the darkness in our lives? What are the things that cause fear in our lives? And when you look at them, you're actually giving them respect. That's why you don't conquer them, because when you don't conquer them, they have that stronghold in your life. You know, I don't know if you ever heard that word, stronghold. Basically, they have occupancy in your brain. They have control over one aspect or multiple aspects of your life because you have not conquered the fear. You have not given that fear over to God. And that's going to lead me into my next point, where your fear really should lie. Check this out. So I hear people mix up this verse all the time. They use the verse, fear God. Why would I want to fear God? Fear is a bad thing. Why would God want me to fear him? You're mixing up the reason why he says that. He says that because fear God is to show an ultimate respect. The word is actually used reverence. It means a deep, deep level of respect. Respecting God for who he is, that he's all knowing, he's all powerful, and that he holds the world in his very hand. So it's more of a respect. It's not like be afraid of God, be scared of him, don't come around him, stay away because you should be afraid of God. No. It's completely the opposite, because when you understand truly who God is, right? You understand he's all powerful, he's all knowing, he loves you more than you can imagine, right? When you understand that, you realize it's just like with your parents. You fear to upset them. You have fear of disappointing them, right? It's not because you're scared of them. It shouldn't be because you're scared of them and you feel like they're going to just disown you and all that stuff. No. A loving parent wouldn't do that. But a loving parent deserves respect, deserves that reverence. And God is your father. He is the parent to you. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about respect for God, respect for his power, respect for his omnipotent presence everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's not about like, let me be afraid of him and let me not come around. No. It's completely the opposite, man. When you understand who God is, you now develop this level of respect. And that's what fear God is talking about. And that's why fear is such a good thing when it comes to that. Let's talk a little more about fear, okay? So I know you all have had an experience where you started something new. And starting something new is always so daunting, isn't it? Isn't it always so crazy how we get so excited when we're about to start something new, but then when it's actually time to, put the pedal to the metal, we start to pull back a little bit. Instead of hitting the gas, we hit the brakes. And we do this because I think procrastination and laziness is a form of fear. You're not going to procrastinate on something that you have no problem doing. There's some fear deep down inside there. I know, we can maybe argue that, but really when you look at it, procrastination and laziness is a product of something. But what is it a product of? In my opinion, it's a product of fear. Every time I procrastinated and every time I've been lazy about something that I need to do in my life, bro, it's because I have some fear. I have something deep down inside that is stopping me from taking action. So fear could be a great indicator for you. When you start getting fear, you could look back and you just sit back and say, you know what? I'm getting the chance to level up. I can level up right now. I could either get in the fetal position or I can level up. So fear is a good indicator for potential growth. So now where do we go from here? So we've established what fear is. We establish what can cause fear. Now, how do you go about handling this fear in your life? Because the fear is real. I'll let you guys into my life a little bit. So I just started my real estate career last January. It's coming up actually on a year tomorrow, I believe. And I've learned so much. And throughout that whole process, man, I had fear. But the only thing that helped me getting through all those moments of fear, because you have two options when you're dealing with this fear. You could either shut down, not do anything, or you could take raw action. When you are taking raw action, it automatically starts to start letting go of that fear. You start to get through that fear, right? Because you are basically changing your belief. As much as you are seeing an outside action, it's really starting in your mind, because to decide to act starts in your mind. The action is the product of the thought, right? So you get the thought of, you know what? I'm afraid, but I'm just going to do it. I'm afraid, but I'm just going to go after it. I'm afraid, but you know what's scarier? Staying where I'm at. That really was one of my main things. You know, I had two fears. I had fears about this new process of real estate and how I'm about to go about it, and all the overwhelming feelings and obligations that I'm going to now take upon myself. Or I could be more afraid of what I was before that. You know, someone who's been doing the same 9-to-5 job that I'm blessed for, but it's not my future. It's not utilizing all the skills that God has given me. It's not living up to my potential. It's ultimately settling. So I said, well, I could either sit here and be like this and take no action, or that fear of being the old me outweighed the new fear of what I had to go through. So the action was the product of the thought, and what drove the thought was the fear of who I used to be. I want to be this new person over here. I'm more afraid of being the old me than I am of the steps that I'm going to have to take to be the new me. Raw action. Make a move. Make a move. So let's close this up. All right, so check this out. Last point. I want to wrap this up for you guys, but I really want to drive this point home. Everything is after your mind, okay? Everything that is going after you wants control of this space between your ears, okay? Why? Because once they get inside your mind, everything else after that can only be an action. So if you control the starting point, you control the mental fortitude that you have in your brain, you control what comes in, what comes out, what actions are made after that thought and that decision-making process, I'm telling you, no one can control you. Fear cannot operate in a life where someone has control over their thought process. And how do you get control of your thought process? Because everybody says, how can you control your thoughts? Your thoughts come in, your thoughts come out. That's very true. But you control your thoughts, and this is how I do it. By the word of God, man. I sit there, I read it, I meditate on it, I write about it, I consult with him about every dilemma, every win, every loss. I consult with God. I don't go and just respond, you know? I've done that in the past. I've done that. And I still, obviously, I struggle with this. This is not a message of perfection. This is a message of help, right? So I've struggled with this, guys. I've had moments where I've just irrationally responded to the way I emotionally felt. But before that even happened, I needed to take control of my thought process. You understand? You know, why do you think marketing is so hot right now? Why do you think social media is so hot? Why do you think the phones and all the screens are so powerful? Because they get inside of our mind. They hook us. They keep us watching, and they control the way we talk. They control the way we walk. They control the way we dress. They control the things that we do. You know what I'm saying? Everything is after your mind. Take control of your mind by slowing it down, consulting with God, reading his word, taking time to meditate. Don't just emotionally respond to something, because it just leaves you hurt most of the time. You know, it's easy. You know, when I get mad, I want to respond a certain way. But God tells me to be slow with anger. But if I never studied his word, I don't know that verse, and I can't apply it to my situation. I can't apply it to my life when it's needed. Yeah.